My name is Brooke Fletcher. I'm a junior communication major with minors in psychology and sociology, and I am from Mount Pleasant, which is right outside of Charleston in South Carolina.
Why did you choose communication?
I actually did not start in communication. I started in graphic communication. So when I applied to Clemson, I was really involved in my high school's yearbook program, and so I had a lot of experience with graphic design and writing and editing and those kinds of things. So I was initially drawn to graphic communications, and then after about a semester and a half, I liked it, but I realized that I was missing some of the components of yearbook that I loved, like the writing and the interviewing side of that, and was looking for a major that kind of had that aspect of communication to it. And so I just applied to get general comm, which is how I ended up in the major.
You just talked about how you originally came for graphic comm, but so why Clemson, and why Clemson's Department of Communication?
I have two brothers. One of them is older, and he graduated from Clemson in May of 2020. So he was already here when I was looking to apply to schools, and so I would come to visit him, and I just fell in love with the campus and the atmosphere here. So I knew I wanted to go here, just wasn't sure what I wanted to major in yet. And like I just said, I was involved in the yearbook program, and so I knew that I liked the journalism communication kind of area of a career. And so I was kind of deciding between different communication programs, and that was why I picked graphic comm. And then when I was choosing which major I wanted to transition to after that, I did a little research about the comm department and just really loved how small it was and how personal it was in terms of the professor-student ratio, and also just the broadness of it. There's a lot of different areas that you can go into with comm. Like I've taken classes in interpersonal communication and group communication, but also intercultural, and right now I'm taking crisis communication with Dr. Pyle. So there's just a lot of different areas that you can tap into to really kind of find your niche in whatever you're passionate about and what you want to do, which I thought was really cool about this program in particular.
What is your favorite study spot on or off campus?
I am at Dolphin Starbucks pretty much every day. I live off campus, so whenever I come on campus, I usually go right to Dolphin Starbucks to kind of camp out for a couple of hours. I love doing my Zoom classes from there, especially this semester, and also it's just a fun spot to meet people, people study people, so definitely Dolphin Starbucks.
What does your ideal Saturday look like?
So I love that Clemson is kind of centered between a bunch of different areas. Like it's 2 hours from Atlanta, 2 hours from Charlotte, an hour from Greenville, and then also an hour or two from a bunch of different hiking spots. So I like to spend my Saturdays going to one of those places. But I would say my ideal Saturday would be to wake up and stop at Duncan on Tiger Boulevard, and then hop on 85 and go to Charlotte and just spend the day shopping in South End or going around the different little neighborhoods in Charlotte and just kind of taking a day trip with my friends, probably.
What organizations or clubs are you involved with at Clemson?
This year I joined PRSSA, which is the Public Relations Student Society of America. So I'm just a general member, and that's been really cool just to have the opportunity to listen to different professionals in the industry come in and just give advice about choosing your career path or what their job entails or things like that. And also this semester, we've partnered with the Lot Project, which is a nonprofit organization in Anderson, and we're just helping them with various PR needs like brochures, flyers, social media, post calendars, things like that. So I'm involved with that, and then also I'm pretty heavily involved with Clemson FCA, which is an on-campus ministry. This year I've had the opportunity to serve on the leadership team, which has been really cool. I serve as the events coordinator, so I lead a team of about 12 individuals, and we coordinate logistics and details for having events like shags, retreats, formals, things like that, for the members to go to, which obviously has been interesting this year just with the pandemic, trying to do that safely, and also lead a team through that has been really cool.
What are you passionate about?
I am passionate about giving others a voice. That is something that I discovered when I was in high school. When I was involved in student journalism, I first found my passion in writing and just having the opportunity to sit down with students and teachers and peers and other members of my community, just give them a chance to tell their story, like what makes them, what struggles they have, what experiences have shaped them into who they are. And so I think it's really beautiful to be able to sit down and have those kinds of conversations and then use my skills and abilities to translate that into a format that is easily accessible by a lot of people. So essentially, like, I would sit down with a student who was going through a really difficult, like a student athlete who's going through a really difficult injury. And that would just had affected their entire career in athletics in high school. And I would sit down with them and just like talk through that with them and like try to understand what that looked like from their perspective, and then write that in an article format that would be published, and then their peers could also understand that too. So I would say definitely I am passionate about just creating those spaces where people feel comfortable to share things like that, and also just using my abilities and my resources to broadcast that.
Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Ideally, I would be in a city somewhere on the East Coast. I thought about DC or Charlotte or Atlanta or Nashville, working in some sort of agency doing public relations or marketing. I'd probably be married, maybe have a family then, but mostly just focused on my career and living in a city that has new experiences that I've had outside of just Charleston, because that's ultimately the place I'd like to live. So,
are there any current projects you're working on?
Right now, most of my time I'm spending on trying to find internships and experience for this upcoming summer, because I do graduate in December. So a lot of my time has been going to that. But with FCA, like I said, just kind of navigating this year and the different unexpected changes with the pandemic has been a project in and of itself, trying to just like still create some sort of events for people to have that are safe and responsible. So we have had like outdoor gatherings a lot at fields, like movie nights, like things like that. So I've coordinated different events and logistics for those kinds of things. So any sort of project related tasks that I've had have been stuff like that.
Have you been involved in any activities involving quality of public life in your time at Clemson?
Last year with FCA, I was on the community outreach servant team. So we partnered with different organizations and nonprofits in the surrounding areas of Clemson. Like we did the Our Daily Rest Soup Kitchen or the Dream Center, things like that. We would go and help them with projects on service days or just kind of whatever they needed, coordinating resources for them, which was honestly just a really cool opportunity because it gave me the space to step outside of campus and interact with the neighbors here in the areas that are not going to be here for just 4 years. So I had the opportunity to, like I said, like listen to the stories of people who lived through all their lives and what they struggle with and what that I wouldn't normally come in contact with if I was just staying on campus, which is really cool.
If you think about the relationships you've developed during your time at Clemson, which ones stand out?
There's two that are standing out to me initially, especially just with this year and how pretty much everything school-wise has been moved online, and so I've lost the face-to-face interactions with a lot of those relationships. But two that stick out. First is my friend Emily Hall. She was my first friend in the major when I switched. She actually is my neighbor. I do see her a little bit. But she was one of the first people that made me feel welcomed in communication and has just been such a blessing. She encourages me to challenge myself in different areas of comm and pursue different experiences and things that would help me in my career. And she's just been a great friend to me. So I would definitely say her. And then professionally, I would also say Dr. Pyle, who he's one of the main public relations professors in the department. And I actually haven't really met him in person because my first class with him was last semester on Zoom, and this semester I'm also on Zoom with him. But he has just been such a blessing to get to know throughout this school year, and he's just been such an encourager throughout all the challenges that this year has had, and just has been really flexible and just as like a friend to be there to encourage me as a student, as a person, just to keep going, keep pursuing my dream job and just stay motivated with school. And so I've really enjoyed getting to know her, even though it's been on Zoom and virtual. But definitely those two relationships have really shaped my experience in the department and my college experience as a whole, for sure.
And can you talk a little bit about your experiences with advising or mentoring in the department?
So I met with Emma Stevens back in January of my freshman year, which she's no longer working at the university, but she connected me with Dr. Pindar, who is now my advisor. And they both really advised me throughout that whole process, because the application process is pretty heavy. There's like a formal application with writing samples and letters of recommendation and things like that. So they were both great throughout that process, and Dr. Pinder has been there for me through every step of time in the major, with picking which area of comm I'm most passionate about and what fits me and my skills the best. So she's been awesome. And in terms of other professors, Dr. Gilmore and Dr. Pyle have both been incredible in shaping me as an academic student, and also just as someone who's about to launch into her career. Dr. Gilmore really helped to hone my skills for critical thinking in his communication theory classes, and just really like helped me kind of get a sense for what communication is and what it could be if I decide to take an academic route with it. And Dr. Pyle has just, like I said, he's been a great friend and a mentor, just because I admire his knowledge and his experiences as a professor. And also he's helped me with connections with other PR agencies in the area, and just kind of figuring out what exactly my path is going to look like after graduation, because he has more knowledge and things in the area that I want to go into.
Can you talk to me about excellence in the classroom?
I think honestly that excellence in the classroom starts with a willingness to learn and to step out of your comfort zone. For me, I love structure and being able to plan out my weeks and my months in advance. But something that I've learned with just being a college student in general is that that's not always feasible. And so just having the flexibility and willingness to step outside and challenge yourself has been very, very beneficial to me. So I'd say it starts with that, but also it's utilizing your resources. For me, that's been making friends in the department that I can study with and that I can lean on if I'm struggling with something. And also blessing my professors, because they're all here to help me and to help connect with other people who can help me. So that has been very helpful for my success in the major. And also, the basic skills like time management and just a willingness to sit down and grind out work, whether that's studying or researching or anything like that.
What are the most substantial ways in which you have grown personally and professionally during your time at Clemson?
And I think back to the person that I was when I first entered college, and it seems like a different Brooke. Like throughout my classes and just my experiences in college with different clubs or even just friendships that I've made have grown me into being more self-confident, more driven, more compassionate, honestly. I've really grown in my relationships with other people and just have grown to have a heart for others outside of just like concern for myself. So I really feel like I've matured in a lot of ways, which has been really cool, because I've had some of the most like challenging times in college. It's the most formative years of your life, as they say. And I've seen that in my own life with, even this year with dealing with a pandemic has been challenging in a number of ways, and just like watching how that has like changed my mindset on things, and not taking things for granted and not expecting that everything is going to go the way that I planned it. It's been super, super helpful and beneficial to me. And I think it will continue to be down the road as I enter the real world and will have some of those similar challenges that I feel like I'll be better equipped to handle because of the things that I've dealt with at Clemson.
What advice would you give to a prospective student in the Department of Communications?
Advice that I would give to a prospective student would be to put yourself out there. As silly as that sounds, that can be with friends, with professors, with departmental things. Go to the different comm events, go to office hours, go to different fun things. Just get to know people, get to know why people choose communication as their major, what they're passionate about, what they want to do with that, and just build relationships, because that to me has been one of the biggest parts of my college experience. Has just been the different relationships I've made with my friends and my peers and my professors. They're gonna last after college, and gonna help, or you're gonna remember down the road when you're in a journey, kind of reflecting back on your college years. So I would say don't be afraid to put yourself out there early and get involved in things to figure out what you're passionate about and the direction that you want to go after you graduate.